Hey everybody, we're gonna try our best this time to take a little bit of the tedium of wheat and vegetable farming, and we're gonna do that by automating the harvesting portion of it. So let's get to it. What you're gonna want for this farm is a couple of water buckets, some type of hoe, a sign, some trapdoors, a lever, some redstone, a chest, a hopper, a bunch of seeds of whatever you want to plant, and some random building blocks. And your ground does not have to be raised like mine. I'm just doing that because we're going to do a couple different sizes. So if you plan on doing a big size, go ahead and raise yours. Or we're just going to do an 8x9 here, as you can see. To start with, this will be the small size. And if you don't have yours raised, you don't need to do this first layer of wall. Instead, what you would want to do is just dig out this trench here that we're leaving along the front edge of your 8 deep space. Now you will want this wall. This will keep the wheat seeds or whatever from flowing outside of the farm. And this back wall is we're going to have our redstone dust and our water and trapdoors. So you're going to want to enclose the sides and the back of your farm. Then you want to take those trapdoors and place them all along, not like that. Place them all along the ground in that very first space. And you're going to want to run redstone dust all along the back edge here. Except for that first space. And at the end here, you just throw on your lever. And those trapdoors should just pop right up. And if you have some stairs on you, it's nice just so you can see in. Not required. Now we're going to take our water buckets and we're going to make our water across the back here. You want to fill in all your spaces. So once you flick that lever, those trapdoors will pop down and release all that water. So now for our collection system, what we're going to want to do is find this center block. You need to make a spot for a chest and your hopper. You want to throw your chest down the front spot and shift click again, placing your hopper in the back of the chest. And we're going to put a sign there just to keep the water from converging on that. I'm going to put one water on one side, one on the other side. It's going to collect all of our stuff and dump it into the chest. And if this is the size you want, you're pretty much done. And like I mentioned, now you just wait for those crops to grow up, and then when you're ready, flip that lever, and everything's harvested. And now we're going to go ahead and prepare for the second option. It really doesn't require that much change. We're just going to take this front wall off and keep extending it on out. We'll have to move our hopper and chest. Now since our current wall extends out to past that upper level, we're going to go add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more additional blocks for a total of 8. It should line up with where the water flows. And then we're going to go ahead and dig our new collection trench. Everything should be just as before. Make your empty spots for your chest and your hopper. Place your sign again as before. And your water. I'm getting a tiniest bit fancy there with steps instead of solid blocks, but feel free to use solid blocks there. Now right here, I do actually need to go ahead and dig that front edge of ground back one layer to allow the water to fall off the front of it. But what we're doing right here is adding a little bit of a trench, just because it's getting big enough now that we're going to need some additional water sources in the center. The ones from the front and the back aren't quite enough at this point. So you want to space, or you can space 4 off the back, and then start your trench there. Again, this front edge is going to be dug back one layer here in a second. But you only need to extend down 4 spaces there into the lower level as well. So you should end up 4 back from your water collection sources. Water can hydrate blocks up to 4 blocks away. And I'm just using stairs and slabs here to contain everything. And so right about here I realized my error with the water placement, so like I said, we're just going to dig this back 1 row. Everything else is correct. Of course, what I should have done probably is turn the water back off before I did this, make it a little bit easier. Now you can see the water does extend all the way down to the end, as it should. Got our rogue water source here. And now our middle size option is complete. One additional option on the second size here is placing some lanterns or torches here in the center. But what you're going to want to do is go ahead and remove that bottom fence, just so that there's nothing blocking the seeds when they're getting washed down by the water. They'll get hung up there if you leave those in. So So let's get started on option number 3. This one is going to be the widest you can make it without the redstone starting to get a little more complicated, spacing, whatnot. Here you can see the harvesting process in action real quick. So all we're going to do here is extend this out 5 more spaces. And we're going to make a mirror of that other wall. Don't do that 6th one. Yeah. So if you need the building blocks, you can go ahead and take down that middle wall, because that will not stay there. And now, just so we can get the water turned back off, we're going to go ahead and throw this back row of dirt down. And then we will place the rest of our trapdoors in and throw the redstone on. So you can also power the redstone through a block on this level. And so my plan here is to throw a wooden edge along the top of this, so that's why we went ahead and put a solid block here. And just get your water sources placed in and you're good to go. I'm going to use these wooden stairs here as my edging. If they'll cooperate. And now we're just going to fill in the dirt on this remaining portion to match the other side. And we are going to make one more of those water channels. This one's a little bit easier to follow if you were confused by the mess up on the first one. So you got 2 upper blocks and then the 4 lower blocks there that you're going to remove and cap. And you want to make sure each one's a water source, because if it's not, once you place your block, it will go away. These also come in handy if you have trouble going up and down without breaking your field. You can jump up and down on the wooden blocks and you don't have to worry about the crops popping up. So if you're able to follow this high-speed footage here, you'll see that each of these sections uses about 1 stack to plant, and of course you can use any type of crop here that you need for trading or food sources, feeding animals, whatnot. So we're going to use some carrots and taters and some wheat, for example, but it does also work on beets. Now, real quick here, we will add in our light sources for our second section here. Apologies if it's a bit dark for a second here, but we're going to work by lantern light for a second. If you take out that water source and dig back your channel here, you can throw your bucket of water in again, and that will tell you where you want to put your new collection source. Now, because we're using that sign to hold back the water, you can put it on either side here. It's not going to matter as long as the water reaches from both sides to where the sign goes. You're all done. That is your finished super crop farm. You can throw some stairs in if you like. And there we go. YouTube magic. Crops are all grown up. All that is left to do is go and flip the lever. Just seeing that the chest there is empty. We can see what our harvest will be. Flip that lever. I usually count to 3 or 4 just to make sure the water starts flowing. If you do it too fast, it won't work. Now that hopper is slow. If you let that sit there, it would pick it all up eventually, but it's just as fast to go ahead and grab stuff. You can see it ticking slowly by. For these purposes, we'll go ahead and throw it all in there so you can see totals, and you can see everything is harvested, nothing wasted. And there's our totals. And all you do is grab what you want to replant and go to town. Take everything else to trade or eat. It's that easy. Now, one option here, if you are worried about your crops spilling out, you can just go ahead and take these 2 stairs out and throw solid blocks and put a stair over the chest, and that will just ensure that nothing gets out of there. But again, I prefer to just go ahead and pick it up manually. So one more surprise bonus automation here. If you're like me and you got more seeds than you know what to do with, you can feed a hopper into the back of a chest, throw a composter on top of that, throw a hopper on top, and 1 more chest on top of that. And now you can just throw your seeds right in that top chest, and you'll get bone meal at the bottom. Of course, you want to save a stack or 2 just to make sure you can replant your field if you need to, but once you start filling up with seeds, this is a good way to turn that into something useful. It takes quite a few seeds to get 1 bone meal, but it's better than nothing. And you don't have to sit there and click on it over and over. Thanks for watching to the end. Hope you learned something. You're a legend. Allegedly.